So I've had this discussion on my mind ever since I did my review of issue 12 of Go-Go Power Rangers, and that was the big weird twist that we got with Ranger Slayer Kimberly shooting that green chaos energy thingy majiggy into that timeline Tommy Oliver, and it confused a lot of people. It confused me as well. This was sort of hinted at, or not hinted at, it was sort of teased at way back in issue 25 of Mighty Morphin, when the Shattered Grid arc started after Drakon stabbed Tommy and Tommy was dying in Kimberly's arms, and he had this line saying, "So that's what she meant." And we still don't know what that line means or what exactly the Chaos Crystal did, the Green Chaos Energy Crystal did. Why do I keep calling it that? Whatever I'm calling it, but we don't know what it does. And it made me speculate and think about what it's going to do in the future or moving forward in Shattered Grid, or the end of Shattered Grid. And the question is, you probably see it in the title, and that is, should they revive Tommy Oliver at the end of Shattered Grid? And it's not a matter of if they should or if they will. If you want my opinion, if they should revive Tommy at the end of Shattered Grid, I think they shouldn't, because if you revive Tommy at the end of Shattered Grid and they reverse time, if they reverse time and they can fix what Lord Drakon's done, I understand that. But if they revive Tommy and they can't fix the Shattered Grid, like the grid is still going to be that separate timeline, which is why it's called Beyond the Grid later down the line. I don't think they should revive him in that instance, because if they still couldn't fix the timeline and reverse time and Tommy is alive again, and he just walks up to the gang and says, "Hey, I'm alive," or he wakes up, I don't think that's still possible, because yes, they did bury him, they did have a funeral for him, but still, if they do revive Tommy and they act like he never died, that impact is not going to be there, because that impact when he died in issue 25 and the funeral in issue 26, that was a really strong impact it left on emotionally on the cast and on the readers. And I think if you did revive him like that, you'd be taking away that impact that his death had. So I really hope they don't revive him like at the end of Shattered Grid. Now, will they revive Tommy at the end of Shattered Grid? That's a hard question. I want to say no, but a gut feeling in me says yes, because this is comics, and in comics all kinds of characters die and they come back. I think we've had Wolverine, we've had Spider-Man. I mean, not to get too off topic about the topic, but my first issue I read, or not my first issue, my big major Spider-Man arc I read from start to finish was the Superior Spider-Man storyline, and I love that storyline. If you haven't read Superior Spider-Man, I suggest you go read it. And that was me reading where Peter Parker just died in the previous storyline, or the previous arc, and he was revived at the end of that, and then I moved forward to the Amazing Spider-Man later down the line. And I feel like they even still acted like nothing ever happened. Like it's really weird. Comics are really weird when it comes to death, and I am not a big comic book reader like your DC and your Marvel. I mean, I've read a few storylines here and there, like Superior Spider-Man and Maximum Carnage, and a few Civil War tie-ins here and there, like in the actual Civil War comics. I've read stuff like that, but I've never been a part of like the whole comic storyline going on where they revive a dead character here and there. I was going to get into the death of Wolverine later down the line, because when they said we're going to kill off Wolverine for good, I was really interested in that. But I feel like, did they revive Wolverine after the death of Wolverine? I don't know, but comics is complicated. There's also the speculation that when Tommy was shot by the arrow by Ranger Slayer Kim, somehow history was altered or changed in some sort of way, but that's hard to say as well. Like, we have no idea what that arrow did or what her intentions were, and I really do hope if we see her in issue 30 like next week and in the finale, or if we see her in the finale, we're going to get some sort of confirmation what that arrow did, because I get the feeling that arrow might be Lord Drakon's weakness, because when Lord Drakon found out that Ranger Slayer Kim was free from the control, he did go into panic mode and be like, "Oh shit, she's the only one that can stop me, we've got to stop her before it's too late," and that's why he did the other power-up. So maybe Drakon knew that something like this might happen, because Lord Drakon is known to plan in advance here and there, so maybe he knew something like this might happen. So God knows what that final trip was that he made. We'll find out. I really want to see Lord Drakkon with his final upgrade. I keep saying that. I want to see what he's going to look like in his final form. But anyways, what did this arrow do? Because it's so complicated, and I know the topic is, should they revive Tommy at the end of Shattered Grid? And I've already said, no, I've driven my point home already. I don't want them to revive Tommy at the end of Shattered Grid. I think he should remain dead, and he should remain dead in the comic universe, because I feel like that was a really cool impact and a really cool thing that Carla did, because he killed off the most popular ranger, and it wasn't done cheaply. I mean, it had the impact of the funeral, and that was really sad. And I feel like I said, if they revive Tommy at the end of Shattered Grid, I feel like the impact that 25 and 26 isn't going to be there, and what they've been fighting for is going to feel like it was for nothing. Yeah, I know they'll fight to avenge Tommy, but I think if they somehow revive Tommy, I feel like that's not going to feel satisfying enough, because what I'm saying, Tommy should stay dead right now for Shattered Grid, and then maybe Beyond the Grid can be trying to fix the timeline and revive him, but I don't think we're going that way. They're going to go in some sort of weird, funny direction, some sort of action-y new direction that we'll see later down the line, which I'll be covering on the channel, of course. But even thinking about what Ranger Slayer Kim did to Tommy back there, well, Tommy in that timeline back there where he shot all the arrow, is still very confusing, because it was sort of, it happened in those few pages and it was left unexplained, and I'm saying it's a cool thing that it's left unexplained, but now we're waiting to see what it does, and I can't wait to see what it does and the payoff it's going to have, because I am worried that thing that she did might, I don't know, is it going to ruin the impact of Shattered Grid and them defeating Lord Drakkon or Tommy being revived? I don't know, and that's what worries me, sort of, because I have no idea how this is going to end, or how this climax for Shattered Grid is going to happen, because I know it's going to be an epic conclusion. It's going to be like a big 48-page book, and that's going to be really cool, but it's just that one bit that we saw in issue 12 of Go-Go has left me scratching my head, wondering what is going to happen next, and I don't know what else to say, to be honest. I feel like I'm lost for words. But I think that's going to wrap up the discussion here. I'm going to leave the question for you guys. Do you think they should revive Tommy at the end of Shattered Grid, or should he remain dead? Let's leave that up to you guys and get some sort of discussion going. Anyways, thanks for watching, have a wonderful day, and peace out.